Did you spend much time on any of the sets?
I didn't. For me, it was quite fun for me. I would go and visit for a few days and say hi, and then see everybody all wet and miserable in the cold, and bye.
And with the last book and sort of breaking it up into two, I would imagine that was a bit daunting, challenging, curious. Can we do it? Should we do it? How did you find that? And how did you really figure out where the break was and how did you go about that process?
Well, we started, the studio, I'm sure the studio wanted 2 movies, but they really kind of let it be known to both Stephanie and I that if the story wasn't 1 movie, then it should be 1 movie. So I kind of went off and began the process of breaking down the stories, like looking at the structures and seeing whether or not it was 1 or 2. It became very clear right away that it was 2 movies. If you try to do it as 1, the storytelling every story would get short shrift. Also, it became clear in the book there are 2 stories. There's a story of Bella as a parent, as a newlywed, and facing death and birth and all that. And then there's Bella as a vampire and a final embodiment of her power. They're 2 very different arcs for that character. So the character in the book has 2 arcs. So it lent itself to 2 movies, and worked with Stephanie on that, and we talked about it, and we finally both agreed it's 2 movies. I'm sure the studio was very happy.
Yes. I don't want to give too much of the sort of battle scene away, the sort of confrontation, but I would imagine, what was that like? Because that, in the book is a sentence or 2. Mm-hmm. Was that more daunting or more fun just because you felt like at this point you knew it enough that you could actually play and try things and say, let's go a little outlandish and see if we can if it works?
Well, one of the funnest things about writing Breaking Dawn 2 in general was, Stephanie, when she's writing the book, she's writing it all from Bella's point of view. So things like, Jacob comes to Bella and says, I told your dad I was a werewolf. Stephanie can't go to that scene in the books because she's has a structure of telling from Bella's point of view. I get to go. So, you think, what was that scene? How did and you think, well, did he just burst out of his clothes? No, he probably took them off one at a time, and Charlie's probably going, what the heck? So that becomes just this really fun thing. And there was a lot of that in this book. There was the gathering of the other vampires. Carlisle's out there gathering people, everyone's out. Because Stephanie's telling her from Bella's point of view, she can't go to Egypt with Carlisle. She can't go collect Garrett. I get you. So there's a lot of back and forth between me and Stephanie of talking about where these people might be and how we might find them. But those kind of things, writing Garrett in New Orleans, that was just pure fun for me. And that goes to the final sequence as well. It's 1 sentence. It's all there. All of it's in the book. It's just, I get to see what that is. I get to play that out. So it was Breaking Dawn 2 was the funnest for me.
And so now, what's next for you?
I'm working on a television show called Red Widow. I have my company, Tall Girls Productions, is now set up at ABC, and we're going to start. Have 1 series, Red Widow, which is based on a Dutch series called Penosa, and we're going to be airing sometime in spring, and just continue writing and producing TV and expanding to film as well.
While we have a second left, why don't you tell me what's it about?
Red Widow?
Promise, yeah.
Red Widow is about a woman who is the daughter of a Russian mobster, but she's separated herself from that until her husband is assassinated. And she has to sort of take over for him a little bit in the crime world in order to protect her children. And discovers, over the course of the entire series, she's actually probably better at it than he was.
Cool. Well, can't wait to see it.
Cool. Yeah, starring Radha Mitchell. Do you know? Yeah, love Radha Mitchell.
Radha Mitchell.
I know she's been, has such rich roles in the independent film world. This is a great vehicle for her. And Goran Visnik. I don't know if you know. Yes, the 2 of them, Dreamcast.
Oh, great! Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Alrighty.
I'm excited. I love.